Hello, I'm Ramie.
And I'm Beth.
And this is Brother Knows Quest, the podcast where I, your host, introduce my sister to the wonderful world of tabletop role-playing games, one game at a time each week. I'm guessing you don't know what we're talking about today?
No.
Ah, what a surprise. Okay, it's this.
Agon?
Agon. I knew it. I knew you were going to say
Well, how am I supposed to know?
What does it look like to you?
A book.
What does it look like it's themed around?
Transformers.
What? I guess that makes sense. It's like a Greek Spartan-style helmet on the
Oh,
front.
yeah, that too.
Yeah. I never considered the similarities, but I guess you're right.
Mm.
Literally, kind of like the one we talked about last week, which was RuneQuest. This is kind of Greek themed. Not kinda. It is very Greek themed. Even more Greek themed because it's actually Greek. Like, not the book isn't, but it's Greece. It's got the gods. It's got the mythos in it.
People getting fed grapes.
Yeah, that's very Greek. I kind of think of goat's cheese. You are playing as not just a hero, but a legend. Think of Achilles and Hercules, all those. Your goal isn't saving the world, it's forging your own epic stories to be sung for eternity. And you're going to do that just like in the Greek myths. It's competitive in a weird way. You're trying to make your own heroes stand out and be the most glorious, but you also have to work together. Kind of like you think of, I guess, Jason and the Argonauts. They were always kind of competing just a little bit against each other, even though they were still not. They had to work together to keep from getting killed, pretty much. You're doing the same thing. There's a strife player, which is what you call the game master. He is the one who does everything besides play your character. Character creation is kind of fast. The core rules are very simple, and it is made to get your actions come across as very descriptive, and it's kind of tense the way the rolls work out because it's a dice pool. You have multiple dice. I'll explain how you build that pool of dice here in a minute. It's less fiddly when it comes to rules than other games, even especially the one we covered last week, which is not as difficult as some, but it is middle of the range. RuneQuest was. It's island hopping, and once you leave an island and face one of the challenges on an island, or face the challenge of the island, it's not part of the game. You ever go back to it, and your goal is to kind of get back home over time. Very much Odyssey style. Your characters are stranded with every challenge and island you face, so you're kind of stuck on it until you fix that problem and then move along. And as you get closer to home, you're a little bit stronger and better. But the gods are fickle, kind of like in Greece. The Greek gods were fickle. You could do something and have one turn against you, and other two work with you. And there's 13 gods, and it's not, you can't make all of them happy.
Nope.
It's just impossible. You can't make two people happy, let alone 13 gods.
Mm-hmm.
You probably should really like Greek mythology if you want to play this game, though. I'm sure you could change the flavor of it to make it seem like another setting or something, but it's more work than it's worth, in my opinion. You might want to look for a different game if that's what you want. You might be able to kind of do a Roman style with it, but if you don't like Greece, why would you like the Roman style? Improv is key because of the way the rules are set up. It's a dice pool thing. Everything in the game revolves around a contest. It could be battling a Cyclops, or a plea to Zeus, a race against rival heroes. They have their own ship, boat. Longboat? Is that what they call them? I think it's what they call the Viking ones.
Yeah, I think that was the Vikings.
I can't remember what they call carousel. No, I can't remember what they called the oared boats that the Greeks used. But most of the time, you're just trying to outdo the strife player or the GM. Instead of having different stats like strength or intelligence, you build your dice pool for a contest based on actions you describe. Your hero's name, an epitaph, like swift-footed, that's part of your character building, equipment, divine favors, and terrain can grant you extra dice in your pool you roll. It encourages a very vivid and detailed role-playing scenario to beat the odds. Basically, the more you describe, the more dice you can add. You're like, I'm swift-footed, so yes, I could outrun this thing. Or my title, not just my title, my name, I am so-and-so of this. You don't roll a fixed difficulty class. Instead, the strife player rolls first with their own dice. The highest result becomes your target number to beat, which is nice, which means the DM's already, or the strife player, always kind of involved more so than some other games. I personally prefer, I guess, the cipher system style where I don't have to roll anything. I just have a number, and they have to beat it. And the number's the same all the way around in that game. But this, you roll, which is fine. Still less rolling than D&D, in my opinion. You have the pathos. It's a type of currency in the game. It measures your divine favor, how much the gods kind of favor you, obviously, and your heroic spirit. You earn it by playing true to your character's flaws and passions. which is another passion's another game in the another mechanic in the game. You spend it to boost your roll, invoke divine intervention, or even alter the story. I think we kind of covered something like this in, Savage Worlds, where you have, even Cypher System. You have XP you can spend to do that in Cypher System. In Savage Worlds, you have the Benny, little chip used to change some things. And like I said, the whole challenge of the game is to get back to your home. Each island's new adventure. Choices have consequences on the state of your homeland when you return. It gives you a powerful sense of progress throughout your game. Now, let me tell you a little bit about you can, like I said, choose your divine patron, sort of, or call on one to do certain things for you. You have Apollo. He is god of sun and healing. Knowledge is his main thing. Intellect, memory, and education. Then you have Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. Grace, charm, and seduction. You have Ares, the god of war, fury, aggression, and brutality. Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, precision, and focus, accuracy, and finesse. And then you have Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, wisdom, foresight, discernment, prudence. Demeter, I like Demeter, goddess of harvest and law, conviction, confidence, credibility, and sincerity. Then you have Hecate, goddess of magic. I like her as well. She's kind of important in the Dresden Files in a roundabout way. Insight, arcane, insight, lore, and power. See, I like her. Hephaestus, goddess of fire and crafting. Integrity, creativity, intellect, and imagination are his big things. Then you have Hera, the queen of the gods. She was kind of seen as prudish, if you go by the lore. But that's fine. It could be fun. You could play as a prudish person. Who was the prudish person I like to think of the most? Downton Abbey. The Dowager Countess. She's somewhat prudish, but funny. She has cunning, deviousness, cleverness, subtlety. Hermes, god of athletes and thieves. I like Hermes as well. Pretty sure Achilles, it was Odysseus who had some of, he could have been part of Hermes' children down the line. Daring, boldness, audacity, and recklessness. Poseidon, god of the sea, fortitude, tenacity, toughness, and stamina. And then you have Zeus, king of the gods. He's, authority, nobility, dominance, and command. It's always fun to do that. They didn't include Hades because he tended to stay in the underworld. So he wasn't considered part of the pantheon sometimes. He was considered part of the pantheon, but he didn't really have a seat on the council, I guess you could say. He just kind of stayed where he was. Stayed out of people's business most of the time, too. I liked him. And of course, half of these will be on your side, half of them won't, or maybe some won't care, and half of them, you could just go around and cause a lot of problems depending on how you've done things. And you might call on a deity to help you that was like Poseidon. And Athena and Poseidon never really got along. So you call on one to help you in a time of need, the other one might just kind of turn against you. And there you go. The character creation's kind of open. All characters kind of come across the same way. But as you add things to your character, as you build it, it changes them up a bit. But they should be on equal footing at the beginning, which is ideal, but you can't really min-max this as well as other games if you're into that. Basically, how you play the game, how you think about building your dice pool and improving those abilities, you will kind of make yourself stick out more and become more different. It's just a good way of doing it, I suppose. I like it. What do you think about the art in that book? It's another one of those beautiful...
There's not that much.
Well, the ones that's in it. I bought it for the art. Another one of these books I bought for the art more than the gameplay because I didn't think I'd ever get anybody to play it. You don't see any art in it at all?
I mean, it's fine. It's
very Greek. I guess that might be why. How many depictions can you have of vase-like artwork?
Oh, yeah.
I just think of Hercules, the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
That was a movie full of pastels, wasn't it?
Hades was the only one I really cared about. And even when it comes to the Descendants movie about the children of the villains and the original Disney characters, I liked Hades in the third one that he was in.
Yes.
So putting all the interesting ones on the island, as she said, locking them away.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. I only watched part of that movie. I learned most of what I know about Greek mythology from lots of old History Channel stuff, and more recently, Stephen Fry has that Mythos book. If you're interested in this book or in this game or Greek mythology at all, you should check out Stephen Fry's book Mythos. It starts off with Mythos, then it moves on to heroes, and then I believe it's called Troy, and it covers the Trojan War. It's all his take on the Greek mythos is really cool, and Stephen Fry's funny. There you go. I mean, would you be interested in playing this, or would you rather play the one we talked about last week, RuneQuest.
Probably RuneQuest.
RuneQuest, well, I mean, if you like simpler rules, this is the way to go. But honestly, it is harder to build your dice pool if you don't have much of an imagination than it is to just use the rules in the RuneQuest book. And sometimes it's easy just to have a thoughtless, I know what I need to roll because it's part of the setup instead of how am I going to roll this. Depends on how you feel on that day, really. Do you want to use your imagination or do you just want to know what you have to do, kind of like in D&D? Yeah, but there's always wiggle room in both of them. No, I just wanted to cover this game before I got away from the whole Greek thing. Even though technically RuneQuest isn't using Greek gods or anything, it's you can see the similarities and nothing else but the artwork. I won't get too much into the character creation because the deities are really the big part. There is a whole section about the epitaph, like swift-footed, the other ones. There's a whole section of those you could pick and other things that correlate with them. But it really isn't that big of a difference from other like descriptors and things and foci in Cipher System. You just kind of choose one that will suit your character best. When you think of swift-footed, I also thought of Hermes because he is the messenger of the gods. So I don't know why that was the one I chose to pick. I guess it was the whole Hermes theme. I wish they had included more about Hades in that part.
Yeah.
There is some island hopping, small campaign stuff in the back of the book. It has a game for you to run, as all should in any core rule book, if you ask me, just to kind of give you an idea how they could be run. Long gone are the days where you just had to figure out how to make one yourself. Usually there's an example in almost any book you get now. I don't know what else to say about this. It's very Greek. It's island hoppy, kind of like the Odyssey, and you are a hero. I'd probably play a little bit of it. It's made for shorter campaigns, I suppose. It can do as many island hops as you want in it. I forget how long Odysseus was on his journey. It was many years, long enough for his mother to get worried about him and drowned herself, and his wife to almost have to get married, and his son to grow up. So he was gone for quite a while. So I guess you could drag out the campaign as long as you like. Just check it out. Look at the description and see the price and everything. I'll put an affiliate link in the description to Drive Through RPG if you're interested in it. It's not terribly expensive. It's like under $30, I do believe. And I'm pretty sure this is one of the rare cases where you can actually get a print version of it as well if you want the PDF on Drive Through RPG, which is nice. I thought this was just a print or PDF. You didn't have any in between, but I found out differently. I like the setting. I like the fact that the rules are a little bit different. There's a lot of wiggle room in this. There's so many different things you can do in a Greek setting because the mythos was so varied and wacky. There were some wacky things. Zeus turning into birds and showers of gold to sleep with people, which, in today's world, that's a whole different thing, a golden shower. So that was something Stephen Fry pointed out. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Turning women into cows. There's a lot of wacky stuff you can get into this. If you don't want to make it a serious game, you can make it a real wacky one. If you know anything about the Greek mythos, it's amazing. And there's things you could do in it. It's kind of hard to cover after immediately covering RuneQuest is all I'm saying. I made a mistake. I thought I should lump them together because they're similar, but I should have went with this one first, I think. If you like what you heard here, we're part of the Gruesome Gaming Group podcast network. We have other podcasts as well, such as Leveling Duo. It comes out occasionally, only when we get a good game to talk about. It's about video games. Me and Beth, or me and my friend Dakota, talk about video games. We have Horrific History and Hauntings. It's a podcast where my sister tells me about everything that's in the title, or sometimes some true crime, sometimes some hauntings, sometimes, mostly, I like the ones about natural disasters and stuff. We cover those. Or weird things like cryptids. We cover that stuff.
How to Die.
Yeah, those are some good ones. That's a book that you should look into. That way you're going down the list, some odds and ends, and picking out of the book and talking about those. If you want to find any of those or leave a review or anything, or find us on YouTube, find our socials, there'll be a Linktree link in the description of the episode if you're wherever you're listening to this, and it will let you see all of our links. Well, the first one on the list will be our main website to the Gruesome Gaming Group. It will have all of our other podcasts, an option to follow, share, whatever. Then you'll have all of our socials at the top. It lets you follow us there or comment or message us. A good way to get a hold of us is that if you want to let us know of another game to talk about. And somewhere in the link below the link tree and the affiliate link for this book will be a option to send a tip or a donation. We really appreciate it if you do. You don't have to. Also, if you use the affiliate link, that will go towards PDFs to buy and talk about as well on Drive Through RPG. Another thing we appreciate. Leave us reviews or whatever, even if they're bad ones. Eventually we'll put them all together and have an episode talking about what people have said. Thank you for listening. I've been Ramie.
And I'm Beth.
And this has been Brother Knows Quest. Bye-bye.